and welcome to another episode of the Let's Get Kraken podcast. Welcome to the floor of the cove. We're sitting on the floor today. Just have no idea why. I just wanted to sit on the floor. Maybe because it's nice and cool down here. Like you get nice down low. My room is in the basement, so it's colder down here, and also on the floor it's just the perfect temperature. It is warm outside, so I thought, hey, let's get just down to the ground. And this is still the cove. Oops, hair sticking to my lipstick. It's just the nice woodwork that my husband put in for me. So yeah, if you are a returning viewer, welcome back. Thank you so much for coming back. I really appreciate it. If you are a new viewer, hi, I'm Eden. I'm the owner of Kraken, where I sell handmade progress keepers, hand-dyed yarn, and other handmade treasures and pattern designs. You can find me on Instagram as Crafting Kraken. You can also find me and my patterns on Lovecrafts and Ravelry. And all the links to all that jazz is down below. So yeah, we are on the floor today. No idea why. Just thought it'd be fun. I have an iced coffee with me today, except the ice has melted away, but that's okay. Got it in this big old stein that my mom got me with the coolest art on there. This is the company or the name of the pottery isn't on there, but it says made in England. You know, sometimes old china has like the art name on it. This one doesn't have that, but there you go. I remember my husband told me what this picture of. It's a moment in history, but I can't remember. Sorry. Whoops. But anyway, I have a finished object that you haven't seen before, and I have two new works in progress that you haven't seen before, but also one work in progress that you have seen before, but I've changed what I'm doing with it, if that makes sense. My neat ripple blanket is not here. I can see it in my vision. It's up on the bed. I have been working on it, but it's about this much, which doesn't make a whole lot of difference when you're working on a scrappy blanket. It just kind of all melts together. So I'm going to save it for when it's done, probably next week. If I'm completely honest, I could totally get it done next week. I put in a lot of effort into those granny squares that I showed. I think I showed them last time. There's a ton of them. They're also in my vision, but I'm not bringing those out because, again, a lot of granny squares kind of looking like the same thing. But I've got most of those colors done that Brittany of Cooked Fiber sent me. So thank you, Brittany. I would not be able to finish this blanket without your help. I feel like I'm hunched over, like I'm telling you a secret. Hey, I have a yarn addiction. Okay. Anyway, let's get cracking on these projects. So let's start with the finished object. I crocheted a little dice bag. So if you didn't know from, I don't remember when I talked about it, but I've gotten into Dungeons and Dragons with my younger brothers, which has been a lot of fun. And I got my own set of dice, and I needed a little pouch for them. The dice came with a pouch, but I thought, hey, I need a fancy pouch. So I just crocheted this. I made this up as I went. If you're interested in the pattern, I could write it up and just put it up for free, but there are many, many dice pouch patterns on Ravelry and Lovecrafts and all that. There's a ton. So I did with 2 straps. It's just double crochets in there, so it opens up enough that I can roll my dice on a flat surface. And here's my dice. This is from the Wizard's Vault on Etsy, and I love them. Let's get my head out of the way. See how shiny and sparkly that is? Yeah, this has become kind of just as big of an obsession as my yarn obsession lately, especially having really cool dice and playing Dungeons and Dragons. It's been fun. But anyway, yeah. It's wide enough that I can put it on a flat surface and be able to roll my dice in it without them like running away from me. And I can see them. So that's great. And then it's just a cinch. It's just single crochets. And I'll just tie it into a little bow to make sure that it doesn't open up on me. And yeah, so I really love that. I used some leftovers. I believe I used this yarn in, I knit a top. My Sonia tee, I believe that's what it was called. And I used it for the main color. This is Garnet from Midnight Cravings. I believe it's a discontinued colorway though. But it's really pretty. So yeah, that was my quick little finished object, and I'll move on to my works in progress, but one that is familiar to you if you've been watching before. If you're new here, it's all new. This is what I do. It's been kind of an up and down of, still don't have a lot of yarn mojo in general, but that's okay. I've been doing little bits of stuff here and there. I say a little bit and then I'll pop out the next two works in progress and be like, that's not a little bit. But anyway, okay, so I showed this blanket the last time, and I had crocheted some flowers in DK weight yarn, just holding it single. This is the flowers in black. I crocheted the flowers out of my DK weight scraps. I made tiny little ones, and they're great, but I was like, this is gonna take forever. It's like, hey, I have a ginormous ball of bulky weight green yarn. How ideal is that? So I'm gonna hold the DK weight yarn double and crochet bigger flowers. So here's the bigger version compared to the baby version. I'm still gonna use these. I think I'll make like a table topper or something. Maybe a pillow would look cool. Just a bunch of flowers. But anyway, here, got little bits everywhere. The center, I am using a old hand-dyed colorway of mine, Octoflage, on my Superwash DK base, which I don't carry anymore. I'm sorry if it's echoing here. Yeah, so it's just a really pretty pale yellow with pops of brighter yellow and brown. Using it at the center, and then it's just my DK weight scraps. So I made a bunch of them. I've got some in pink, and I've got some in some like cream with multicolors. I think those will make really cool like daisy looking ones. Let's see how many I have here. Oops. Well, no. I should have prepared. It's a mess in this bag. Like, it's just a bunch of scraps all coming undone. I made a bunch. Like, so professional. I'll get in the way of this plug. Sorry, I keep looking at myself making sure that I'm doing this right. I'm crocheting this with a size 6mm crochet hook or a J hook. Very simple. And then I was able to get one with a border around it, so you can see the flower. Oh, I love it. The only thing is that it's supposed to become a hexagon, but I haven't really been able to get that hex, like you can see it ever so slightly. You can see it right there. I might do another round around the flower to try and get a more defined hexagon shape. Maybe like just some double crochets in like the entirety of it. It's got little, this is a free pattern by the way, which is awesome, but it's got like, you do 2 double crochets between each petal, and then you have these that are supposed to become like the edge of the hexagon, the little pop there. I guess if I mold it, it becomes a little more hexagon-like. Should I follow the pattern and just do the one round, or should I do another round? If I do a second round, then I can't do a continual hexagon attachment like how the pattern gives instructions of how to put the border around, and then you just leave it on, and then you can put the border around the next one and attach it immediately. But I might just have to go around and then attach all of the hexagons together. Oops, I touched my lip gloss. Bad idea. And just attach them continually later. I have no idea what this is, but I know it's like 100% acrylic. I've carried this around for probably over 5 years. It's old, but I'm glad it's finally getting used. But it's a really pretty green and goes well with all of the colors. So yeah, that is my flowers in black, which is actually flowers in green. And I really like how that's going to turn out. I'm just stuck at the moment of what to do about the border. We shall see. But also I want to get my neat ripple blanket done more. So once that blanket's done, maybe I'll be able to focus my attention on that blanket a little bit more. Like actually think about it. Okay, so next is a knitting project that I started. So here they are. Sorry, got dust in my nose. Anyway, here they are. So I am knitting a pair of vanilla socks for my husband with my sock set, orange creamsicle, and blue raspberry. Yeah, blue raspberry. This was like a summery sock set that I dyed. Well, actually, he dyed the orange. I dyed the blue over a year ago, maybe a year and a half. And it's been sitting in the shop for a very long time, which is sad. Sometimes things just don't sell. Yeah, I never sold any, which kind of made me sad, but I get it. Sometimes colors just don't hit the same with other people than it does you. So I was like, hey, you know what? I'm finally going to knit him a pair of socks with that sock set. And I really wanted some stripes in there. And it's just such a great pop of color. And it just makes the perfect summery pair of socks. And I love it. So this is a 72 stitch sock with 2x2 ribbing for 18 rows. Then for the stripes, I did 5 rows from the cuff, 8 rows of the blue, so like 4 rows in between, and then 8 more rows of the blue. And then I did 20 rows down till I started the heel flap. Just because he doesn't really like his socks to be super tall, and I knew with the stripes it was gonna make a taller leg, but I didn't want it to be crazy tall, so it's a good, I don't know what you would call that. It's not like Here, I'm just gonna, yeah. Not even mid-cap, but just like a 2/3 cap. There's tape, oh goodness. But yeah, I love it. And I just finished the gusset decreases, and so I just have to knit the foot. The progress keeper I have on here is my own hand-painted progress keeper. It's a campfire. I will be painting up a few more of these because it's just the perfect summer one, and the first batch all sold out. I'm sorry if you missed out, but I saved one for myself. Yeah, so I love these. They make me so happy. And I'm actually really proud of that heel flap and gusset with the separate color. I'm learning. So here it is. Oh, I'm knitting these on size 2.25 millimeter needles. US, I do this every time, 1. So there's Orange Creamsicle. Oops. Really pretty, like mandarin orange with mixes of cream in there, and it knits up. It's a little bit brighter than the camera is letting on, like it's more of an artificial orange than what the camera is letting on. This is more of like a mandarin orange, but in person, I don't know how I'd be able, oh, actually, yeah. No, come on. It's more of a artificial orange that you would get from an orange creamsicle. And blue raspberry, which that's pretty close on camera. So yeah, that's my husband's pair of socks. So my final work in progress that I have here today was just the random jump into this project. I didn't know why I wanted to do this. Oh, there's the emails. Etsy. I decided to start crocheting the Rye Bread Cardigan by Linda, I can't say her name, last name, there she is. And it's this beautiful oversized crochet cardigan with this kind of wheat stock top, like you know when wheat grows and it's got all the kernels on the top. I'll show it to you. Okay. That dust. Oops. It's okay, it's crochet. Doesn't matter if it pops off, but here we go. Wow. There's actually a big change from this first ball to this ball. They're the same colorway, but they're completely different. And that kind of leads me on to what I'm going to talk about for, oops, hello, the computer went down. For this cardigan. Oh, I love this. There's that little texture. It's actually really easy. I had tried one other of her patterns. What was the Sensum sweater, which is a gorgeous sweater, and I really wanted to make it, but for some reason my stitch counts just wouldn't line up. By the time I finished the first section, it was like these pie shapes, and you build it up into a like a square rectangle. You build them in little wedges. The wedge kept being the wrong amount of stitches, and I could not for the life of me figure out what I was doing wrong, and so I gave up on it. I had finished the sleeves already, and I attached those to a different crocheted sweater body. I don't have that sweater anymore. I gave it away because I never wore it, because it was made out of Briggs & Little, and that's kind of the yarn you want to wear with a top under it, and the style of the sweater just wouldn't work with wearing a t-shirt or something under it, unfortunately. So yeah, it went to a better home. But anyway, this sweater, it's great. It's so much easier, and I'm able to keep the stitch counts. I think it was tricky because she is in Latvia. It's a European country. I did not do my research today. I am sorry, but anyway, the translation in that pattern must have not been great for going from her language to English. Sometimes that just gets lost, kind of like when Petite Knits has like her patterns translated from Norwegian to English. It gets lost sometimes. That happens. I think that happened with the no frills sweater. Sometimes that happens. It's a hard language to translate patterns into English. English just is so different that it messes up, and so I don't hold that to the pattern designer whatsoever. It just got lost. Anyway, this one is great. I'm able to follow it to a T. It doesn't seem like it has any mix-ups of any kind. I would not recommend her patterns for a beginner crocheter. You need that kind of basis of crocheting terms and stitches to weave between very little instructions to the pattern. Anyway, I'm talking so much. I am crocheting this with some yarn that my mom had dyed a very long time ago and put it in the shop. This is a color squall that was on a tweed base, and the tweed strangely dyed into little pink puffs. But we had these sitting in the shop for a very long time, so I was like, hey, I'm gonna use them. It's gonna work perfectly because crochet takes a lot of yarn. I needed a lot of fingering weight yarn to hold double. That's the body. What I've hit though is at some point I forgot to do some increases, and I don't know how to fix that because it's very distinct for you to make sure that these rye stalks line up nicely. You can see this is where it started because this guy is a little bit off. It's just a little too close to this one, but these two are perfect. So somewhere along here when I changed yarns, I messed up. So I have to go back. And I'm gonna try and fix this jump from this one has a lot of gold in it. This one has very little gold. I have another skein that is close and has a little more gold in it. So what I'm gonna do instead of holding, I think I'm going to remove this skein of yarn and put in this one so that when I start working the less gold one, it'll be a little more even. I should have held two skeins together for the first part, but I just grabbed one, wound it up, and just held that one cake double, which is my mistake. On camera, it's much more noticeable than it is in person because you can still get those hints of gold, but that's all right. I am knitting the smaller size. There are two sizes. I'm crocheting the smaller size with a 5mm hook, which is what is called for, and I got gauge, so that was great. Yeah, you check gauge on your crochet too. I'm actually glad that I did. And I've got a bunch of different colors to throw in here. So, first one, this is from a Red Moon sock set that's the same base as this that my mom dyed a while ago. We don't have that anymore. That's going to go into that. It's a faded cardigan. Then it's going to go into this one, which is here's our whole tag. This is from Bluebird Yarns. This is her Little House on the Prairie yarn club. This is home is the nicest word there is. It is an 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon. Oh no, that's just the quote. Is actually this one, paper garlands and divinity cake. This is paper garlands. This came in a set of 2. My mom has the divinity cake, and then I had one from her. This is cranberry garland, and honestly these pop way more on camera than it does in person, but they're very close, and they carry the same gold that is in, let's do this one, this guy, so they'll fade very nicely. It kind of has you use a bunch of, I think it takes about 3 cakes in one color. You have your massive amount of the main color, 3 cakes of the next color, and then a little bit less of the last color. So instead, I don't have that many of the same color that would work. Just decided to fade these guys. And then if I run out, I'm going to throw in a dragon horde yarn that is like pure gold into the sleeves, and I think that'll look really cool. This is the Fat Friar on her lower fingering base. She gave this to me for Christmas. Thank you, Tristan. I love it. And yeah, I got a bunch of minis. I crave making blankets lately. I don't know why. I think I'm gonna collect all my minis, and once my neat ripple blanket is done, I'm gonna cast on a Cozy Memories blanket. I've never finished one. I made some bigger squares, made up little squares, and it became a scarf, a huge scarf that I rarely wore, but now it sits on me and my husband's, I think it's like a 5-foot teddy bear, and he wears it and it looks great. But anyway, yeah, so I'm gonna throw that into the mix and it's gonna look great. So I just have to go back and figure out where I forgot to increase. Whoops. But highly recommend this if you're a crocheter or somebody who has that basis of crochet knowledge and would like to make it. It would work great. And I just have everything sitting in this bag that my mom made me a long time ago. I love it. I need more, well, not more, but I need, a big bag. Like I need a bucket bag for some of these projects that I'm taking on. Put all the skeins back. Man, those are the works in progress that I have going continually right now. Okay, get it. It actually fits pretty nicely in here. And the hook and the yarn. There we go. It's all clean. Yeah. Those are the works in progress that I have going continually at the moment. It's actually more than I thought. I've been talking way longer than I thought I would. I thought it'd be really short. But yeah, I think I'm more a crocheter right now. I think that's what I want to do. And usually that's connected to, I would love to bust a lot of stash. I feel like I've gained too much and I would like to just start working through it. And so I want to crochet because that eats yarn faster. And I'm okay with that. And I really enjoy it. It hurts my wrist more than knitting does, so I can't do as much of it. But that's kind of why I have my vanilla socks, so when my wrist really starts hurting from crocheting, I'll switch over or I'll take a break. I can take a break. I'll switch over to the sock and just knit. So yeah. That is all my yarny projects. The garden, I guess I should say, let's move on to a little life stuff. If you're not into life stuff, thank you so much for joining me. If you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing before you go. I really appreciate it. It means a lot. It helps the podcast gain a little momentum. And comment down below, introduce yourself. I'd love to talk to you. I'd love to get to know you. And yeah, so moving on to life stuff. The garden's going great. I have a little herb garden on the deck that I've really loved. The only thing that's gone wrong with it so far is that the dog is very intrigued by it and will eat leaves off of the plants, which is very annoying, but what are you gonna do? She's just a puppy. And in the greenhouse I've got a few things going that are peas, and I've got some Korean hot peppers, and what else? There's a little bit of lavender in there, and it's going great. I'm sure I'll put in a little video for you guys because I have to go out and check on them because it's a hot day. I gotta make sure that they have plenty of water. Oh, and I got sunflowers in the front that are surviving. 2 of them got eaten by deer. They just ate the tops off and they just died, unfortunately, but I have 2 left, and I had one that was slow to sprout in the greenhouse, so I took it out and planted it in front. So now I have 3 sunflowers, and hopefully that'll be enough to survive the summer. And other than that, I have been slowly de-junking my life, I guess is the best way to put it. I found that I've become extremely overwhelmed by all the stuff we own and all the projects that I do, and you kind of hit that point where it's too much. So that's the thing that's been distracting me and made me forget about the podcast, is that I've been cleaning. I've been de-junking. I went through my closet, which was great, and I'm gonna go through my books and my projects next. So there will be projects that I will be kind of frogging, and that's okay. And I'll pull out some sweaters that and other projects that I totally forgot about and just decided I'm going to finish them. And which one? I'm all over the place. Which ones I'm going to finish and which ones I'm going to frog. Which actually isn't as many projects as I thought. It became a lot of yarn all over the place because the projects wouldn't find a bag, and so I would put them together and be like, okay, this is what I'm working on, here we go. Put it on the shelf, and it would just fall off the shelf or something, and I'd shove it back on. It became a mess. Anyways, it's a mess. I'm sure it happens to everybody. But yeah, I'm wanting to de-junk and minimalize my stuff and kind of get a better idea of what I want with my stuff, what kind of look I'm going for. When you transition from your childhood bedroom, I was a raven of a collector. I love shiny things. I loved all the things. And now that I'm older, I find that I would like less collections of random stuff. So that is what I'm working towards, is that I want to be a little bit more minimal, but in the sense I would like to just concentrate on the things that matter the most to me, if that makes sense. So yeah. And then last thing, my husband and I, we bought a tent and we're going to go camping next week, which is very exciting. Just in a nearby lake in the Caribou, Green Lake, I think it's called, and it'll be wonderful. So I've been collecting all of our camping gear, just all over the place, and just kind of collecting it, putting it in. I'm very excited. Yeah, that's the summer. It's hot. It's grown hot. It is summer. And I can't wait for it to be cold again. Really, truly. I am ready for the fall to come back. Maybe after camping. But yeah, that's okay. Anyway, all over the place. It's kind of life right now. Simple reevaluation is really what it is. I feel like the coffee is kicked in. That's another life thing. I've tried to cut down on my caffeine intake. And so this is my first caffeinated beverage in like 3 days. And I can feel it. Yeah. So, that is everything. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you are having a wonderful day, night, evening, whatever time it is there that is full of joy and yarny goodness. And I will see you next time.